did a little bit of damage. Also, I didn't even realize it has black sprayed edges. Hi everyone, so I'm going to be going to Second and Charles today. I took some time off just for my mental health. This time of year is a little bit difficult for me and there's some triggering stuff. So that's why I usually take a mental health break during this time, just so that I can relax, unwind, and also distract myself with hobbies and things that I really like doing. And so I figured we'll go to Second and Charles today because I have a bunch of books that I need to unhaul. I think most of them are in my unhaul video, so I'll link it up here if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'm gonna go to Second Charles, go and sell those books. I think I do have some credit as well. So I have a list of books in a little notebook that I'd like to keep an eye out for and see how the prices are, if they're reasonably priced, and if I can go and spend my credit on that. But just in case if you haven't seen my unhaul video, I'll just do a quick little refresher of some of the books, but I won't go into details while I'm getting rid of them. That will be on the video that I mentioned. So I have Eat Your Heart Out by Kelly DeVos, so that's one of the ones I'd like to get rid of. Then You Love Me by Carolyn Kepnes, Tender Beasts by Lizelle Sambury, Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I have not read this yet, but I have multiple copies, so I just kind of want to unhaul some of the extras. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, American Batia, so also this one, The Hand That Feeds You by A.J. Rich, Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match by Sally Thorne, You by Caroline Kepnes, The Red Lotus, Brown Girl in the Ring by Nalo Hopkinson, It's Not Okay by Andy Dorfman, and then Single State of Mind by Andy Dorfman. So yeah, those are the books that I'm planning on bringing. I think I got an email saying that they're really wanting romance books, and I mean, I do have a couple in there, but not necessarily too many. With a lot of those books that are in the pile, I have read most of them, but they just weren't some of my favorites. And as you can see, I have a lot of books, and I'd rather have books in my space that make me feel something, ones that I rated highly or want to revisit and read again sometime in the future. I do like to reread my books, but I usually put a couple of years as cushion space between, just so I don't have everything exactly in my memory, and it's a little bit more exciting to reread it and rediscover favorite parts. But yeah, so I'm gonna take those books. I probably do have more books that I'd like to unhaul, but to be honest, I'm not entirely sure yet. And plus we do have my Love It or Lose It series as well, and there's some books in that pile, but I haven't made it to those ones yet. So for now, those are the books that I'd like to go and sell and hopefully get some credit so I can use them for other books. And yeah, so I'm excited. We're gonna go and do that. I think I need to get gas first, and then I'll head on my way because they open at 10 a.m. my time. So really excited. I'm gonna be taking you with me, but on my phone, because I haven't gotten to the point where I feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable taking my camera with me and pulling it out. So yeah, usually whenever I'm out and about, the vlog quality is different because it's on my phone. So I hope you don't mind, and I'll talk to you again here in a little bit. All right, here are the books that I'm saying goodbye to. This will be their last time in this house. Hi, Nugs. Yeah. I am done at Second and Charles. I had around 26 credits, I want to say they said I had from the previous time I was here, and then I got a little bit more credits from the books I sold today.
It seems like it's a lot better to just go and take your books as in-store credit versus actual cash. You're still not getting a lot, but it's better than nothing. So with all those books, I think I had like $43 in credits. So I did save some money. However, I did still go and buy some books that hadn't been planned. I had this list and everything, but there were some books there that had like zombies and things like that, which anyone that has been on my channel for a while knows how much I love zombies. So I picked up those books. Also, sorry, I had the AC on for a little bit, so if you heard some extra sound, I apologize. But yeah, I got some books too that were on sale and everything, so that is good. But I'm done spending, and I'm gonna go home because I am hungry and Nugget probably needs to go outside. So a success.
So I just got home. Hi, Nuggie. Hi. Thank you. I just got home from 2nd and Charles, and I did a little bit of damage. So I got quite a few books. I had a list of books in a little notebook, which I forgot to grab. But I had all the books written down in this little notepad, and it was just like a handful of the books that I was going to look for, and if they were at better prices, then I would go and snatch them up. However, because I didn't know how long they were going to be looking at all the books that I was selling, I kind of wandered around a bit longer than I should have, and so I found quite a few books that I was interested in, as well as a lot of books that were already on my radar. So let's go through the bags. And basically, so before I really go into everything, I already had around like over $20 worth of credits. So I knew that I had that much to go and spend on some books that I found. And then when they had finished looking through the books that I was selling, they did say that I had, I think, over $20 as well worth of credits. So with 2nd and Charles, I find that I usually take the credits over going and getting cash back, because when they offer you the cash back, it's significantly less than the in-store credit. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna buy books anyway. Why not change it over into credit for the store so that I can save a little bit? I'll show you all the books that I got. So this one is The Dead by Charlie Higson. I love zombies so much, and I was just kind of looking around. This book does have a little bit of wear and tear on it, but not enough to the point where it really bothers me. I'm a bit of a hypochondriac when it comes to used books, borrowing books, things like that. So when I was looking through a lot of the books there, I was very particular about the quality they were in. But this one is $5.80, and because it's a zombie book, I was like, I need to pick it up. Also, I didn't even realize it has black sprayed edges. I don't really care regarding that, but I was definitely excited about the whole zombie aspect. So it says the disease only affects people 16 or older. It starts with the symptoms of a cold, a runny nose, a scratchy throat, a cough. Then the skin begins to itch and spots appear, spots that soon turn into boils filled with pus. But the worst parts are the headache, the sensitivity to light and sound, the inner voices that confuse you, tell you that you're hungry, that you need to eat them, the younger ones. I am so excited. So it seems like this one is a year before The Enemy. So I don't know if it's like a prequel for the next book. I'll have to look into it more, but I am so excited. I love zombies. I love apocalyptic things. And I feel like I always really need to go out of my way more to find zombie-ish books. So I'm excited to read this. We're gonna have like a zombie themed month at some point. I promise you, it's gonna happen. And then I have The Fervor by Alma Katsu, and I've seen this one before, but I didn't really know too much about it. So this was in the horror section, which is probably where most of my damage ended up happening. And this one, a little bit about it. The acclaimed author of the celebrated literary horror novels The Hunger and the Deep turns her psychological and supernatural eye on the horrors of the Japanese-American internment camps in World War II. 1944, as World War II rages on, the threat has come to the home front. In a remote corner of Idaho, Miko Briggs and her daughter, Aiko, are desperate to return home. Following Miko's husband's enlistment as an Air Force pirate in the Pacific months prior, Miko and Aiko were taken from their home in Seattle and sent to one of the internment camps in the Midwest. It didn't matter that Aiko was American-born. They were Japanese and therefore considered a threat by the American government. But the part that really captivated me, because I'm not too much into historical fiction books where it targets a lot of the war, it really depends on what the historical fiction is surrounding that. But it said at the bottom, inspired by the Japanese yokai and the Horogumo spider demon, the fervor explores the horrors of the supernatural beyond just the threat of the occult. I'm very intrigued by this book, so I had to go and pick it up. It was also $9.95 there, so I was like, all right, we can go and pick up this book. Then another book that got me, oh, hi, Max. Then another book that got me in trouble in the horror section was Sweeney Todd, The String of Pearls by James Malcolm Rymer. And I am a huge musical girly. I was also a huge theater girl in high school. Sweeney Todd is one of my all-time favorite musicals, and I'm hoping at some point for the show to come back to Colorado so they can take Charles because he's never seen it, but I didn't know there was a book, so I had to pick this one up. It says, this novel marks the literary debut of the infamous demon barber, Sweeney Todd. In this terrifying tale of deceit and retribution, Todd sets out to commit gruesome crimes in broad daylight on one of London's busiest streets. When he meets Mrs. Lovett, the owner of a neighboring pie shop, the two descend into depravity as they conspire to orchestrate a spine-chilling cover-up. So be wary as you venture into Fleet Street, a place riddled with murder, menace, and meat pies. I'm excited to check this out. This one was also $7.95. Then one book that I did have on my list in this pile was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I have heard that Powerless is a book that kind of is a fan fiction of the Red Queen and not copies but mirrors a lot of things from this book. So I haven't read Powerless yet or any of those other books because I wanted to read this one first. And so I was really excited that I was able to pick it up there because it was, like I said, on my list. And it said, this is a world divided by blood, red or silver. The Reds are commoners ruled by a silver elite in possession of godlike superpowers. And to 17-year-old Mare, a red girl from the poverty-stricken stilts, it seems like nothing will ever change. But Mare possesses a deadly talent of her own, one that threatens to destroy the balance of power. I'm so excited that I was able to pick this one up, and it's $8.95. So a lot of the books that I got in trouble with were ones that were under $10 because I was like, oh, they're on sale, they're cheaper. So that's where I got in a little bit of trouble. Then a book series that I was just besides myself to have found was this one. So for a long time, I vaguely remember the first book. I only ever read, I think, a few chapters in the book because, believe it or not, at that young age I was at the time, I was terrified of this book and I was reading it at night and I couldn't sleep. So I ended up never finishing it and unhauling it. And I couldn't for the life of me remember what the name of it was, remember who the author was, but I vaguely remembered the cover of the book. And so it is Strange Angels by Lily St. Crow, and then they had the other books there as well. I think there's only 3 books in the series. Yeah, I think there's only 3 books in the series potentially. But it says, Dad, Zombie, Mom, Long Gone. Me? Well, that's the scary part. The real world is a frightening place. Just ask 16-year-old orphan Drew Anderson, a tough girl who has taken down her fair share of bad guys. She's armed, dangerous, and ready to kill first and ask questions later, so it's going to take her a while to figure out who she can trust. I'm so excited. I am so excited I found this. So each one of these books, the first one was $3.50, the second one was $3.75, and then the last one was $3.95. Like, I kind of did a little happy dance when I was looking through the bookshelves because Second and Charles is a little bit overwhelming, to say the least. There's just so many bookshelves. There's so many different areas with all sorts of different things. There's kind of no rhyme or reason where some stuff is placed. Like, yes, you see some name cards for, like, you know, sorted A through Z for last name, but you really have to take the time to, like, go shelf by shelf to really look for stuff, because I feel like if you don't do it that way, you're gonna miss so many things. And so I'm so glad I did that because I got this book series and I can finally go and read it because we know I love horror, we know I love zombies, apocalyptic things, and I have just been kicking myself all these years trying to remember what this series is called so that I can finally read it. And so it's happening. I got it. It's happening. Then another book that was actually on my list was The Reformatory by, I'm not quite sure how to say the author's name, so I'll have to go and look into that. But this has been a book that has been very much on my radar. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And my bestie, Once Upon a Bookish Steph, she has this book as well. And I think we've kind of lightly talked about potentially doing a buddy read. So I was so happy that I was able to snatch this one up as well. It says Gracetown, Florida, June 1950. 12-year-old Robbie Stevens Jr. is sentenced to 6 months at the Gracetown School for Boys, an institution for kicking the son of the largest landowner in town in defense of his older sister Gloria. So begins Robbie's journey further into the terrors of the Jim Crow South and the very real horror of the school they call the Reformatory. I'm so excited. I'm ready to read this book and finally understand all the hype going around it. Then speaking of hype, this is one book that was like my main mission when I went into I forgot the name of the store already. What the heck? I need to eat. I haven't eaten yet since breakfast, so that's not good. But my main mission, or not main mission per se, but one of the books that I absolutely wanted to grab no matter what, whether or not I needed to go to other bookstores, was For Whom the Belle Tolls by J.C. Lynn. Y'all, I am a part of the Saga First Crew, I think that's what it's called. I'm one of the influencers in their program, and I was able to get an audiobook for this book. I don't really go on TikTok all that often. It's kind of one of those things that I go into in spurts on and off. And so I don't know the author. I don't watch her channel. I only recently started watching her channel because I started listening to this book. So I didn't really know any of the hype surrounding it. I recognized the cover because I saw it on some of the Saga promotional emails and some social media posts. So I kind of went into this completely not knowing too much on what was going on. And y'all, my legs are losing feeling. Oh. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. She's such a good girl. This was a book that I 100% wanted to get no matter what. It's so good. Y'all, this book is so good. So you're gonna have to look at my review. I'm probably gonna do a few other posts on it. And I will go and say this book might not be for everyone. I've been in a little bit of a weird reading slump. And so I've actually been reading some genres that I don't necessarily gravitate towards. But this one had amazing banter, lots of nerdy banter, found/chosen family. There was also a lot of trauma and healing and personal growth. The female main character, she was so lovable in the fact that she wouldn't take crap from anyone. And she established her own little hell desk. Well, hell desk. So help with HELL. She established her own help desk and did amazing things there. There's so many like inside jokes and inside stories that I could do from this book, but I don't want to do spoilers. And then also, one of the biggest things of all, religious trauma. There were so many times that, I kid you not, I started crying, my eyes started watering, and I was like, I need to run to get some tissues. So I hope that my excitement and my babbling makes you maybe want to check out this book, because holy crap, I enjoyed it. And it's a chunky one. It is a chunky one. So if you're not in the place where you want to go and read through all these pages, I highly recommend the audiobook. The audiobook was so good. Elena Wolf was one of the narrators for the story, and I've listened to her in a few other audiobooks, and she does such a great job. I absolutely love her. So yeah, go and check it out. So good. I laughed, I cried. It was so good. And this was one of the expensive ones that I got, so yeah. All right, we're going back because I forgot to even tell you what this book was about. So rewind, I'm inserting this clip before you start seeing the other stuff about the other 2 books. So it says, Lily may not be thrilled with her arrival in the afterlife, but what awaits her there is fantastical beyond imagination. Deities in line at the coffee shop, fae flitting between realms, souls making death a beginning. As she explores the afterlife's many realms, Lily finds herself drawn to a place most would avoid at all costs: hell. Armed with years in customer service, she makes a job for herself among hell's demons, directing souls to their rightful circles with more than a hint of sass. Lily's expectations are subverted every day in hell, especially by Belle, a demon general with a distractingly sexy voice. The 2 form an immediate, deeply healing friendship, and the heat between them threatens to combust. But something stirs beyond the boundaries of their world, threatening to destroy everything they know, unless they fight like hell to stop it. So good. Then I also picked up Killer Instinct, which is book 2 in the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I went and read the first book last month and absolutely loved it. And to be honest, I was so close to going and getting the other books when I was there. But because of the haul of books that I was seeing in my basket, I was like, no, Rochelle, you are going to be good. You are going to behave. So I only got the second book, but I'm almost 100% positive that I will be getting the next 2 books as well. I'm not going to give you any information for this one because it is the second book in a series, so I don't want to give you spoilers or give myself spoilers. So this one was probably $11.99. They didn't have a special sticker on this one. And then this one was $22 for Whom the Belle Tolls. So then, last book is Strange the Dreamer by Lonnie Taylor. And I've heard a lot of really good things about this book. Jade Juniper raved about this book, and it really intrigued me, so I was really excited to pick it up. This one was $15.99, and it says, The dream chooses the dreamer. Laszlo Strange, war orphan and junior librarian, has been obsessed with the mythic lost city of Weep for as long as he can remember. But it would take someone bolder than he to cross half the world in search of it. Then a stunning opportunity presents itself in the person of a hero called the Godslayer and the band of legendary warriors, and he has to seize his chance to lose his dream forever. What happened in Weep 200 years ago is to cut it off from the rest of the world. What exactly did the Godslayer slay that went by the name of God? Basically, with all those books, I got my receipt here. It's kind of long. But my total was going to be $122.94. But because I had $43.10 in store credit, it knocked it down to $79.84. So I think that's pretty good considering the damage that I could have done. I was trying to hold myself back. So the amount of books we got 11 books for $79.84. I think that's pretty good. I'm still like, I wish I would have done a little bit better and like, held myself back a little bit more. It was after I found out what my credit would be after the books that I sold today. And I was like, you know what? There's a few books I walked past. I think I'm gonna pick them up, so treat yourself. But yeah, I'm really happy with all the books that I got. I need to for sure figure out where I'm gonna put them on my bookshelves. But I think this is a really good haul. I'm very much excited for it. And yeah, I will talk to you again in a bit. So this has basically been our entire bookish video where I went to a used bookstore and then Also ended up spontaneously doing a little bit of rearranging on my bookshelf, kind of changing the way that things are set up. I do like how it looks right now, but trying to rearrange things made me realize quite quickly that I need a stepladder. I think a stepladder is very much needed in my library because I am short. I'm 5'1.5", and going and climbing on top of the couch might not be the safest thing for me to do. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that, but I hope you all enjoyed this, and if you did, I'd love it if you could maybe leave a like, maybe go and comment down in the comments below. I'm not sure if there's a magnifying glass or something to that extent, but maybe go and put a magnifying glass down in the comments below just to indicate like going and searching around for the books that I had on my list to find in the bookstore, but maybe wasn't entirely successful with. Also, I was just curious if there is any sort of video that you would like to see on my channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. I have a few things that I am planning on filming, but if there's anything you would love to see from me, whether or not it's a collection of my comic books or different videos like that, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you found some new books to add to your radar. And as always, I want to remind you all that you are worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye.